Well, hello everyone. How are you doing today? Welcome back to another Tuesday of the Kingdom Builders Business University. Where are they now? Where are they now? You might be wondering, what am I talking about? Where are they now? I'm talking about all of these amazing KBBU alumni that have graduated from our associates or undergraduate courses. That's right. We provide a associate certification, a bachelor certification, as well as a VIP master certification for our business university. We provide services for every entrepreneur, every business owner that's out there, no matter what stage you are in. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do, if you already are doing what you want to do, or if you've been in the business field forever and things you just continue to learn, but don't really know firsthand and just kind of struggle a little bit by being able to do business by yourself. You don't have to do that. You can come on over to www.kbbullc.com and we would love to talk to you, get you in our online courses that happen every Wednesday from 7:30 to 9, or our private sessions for the associate certification. That's one-on-one at any time. We want to get you into our school so that you can learn how to do business the right way. That's right. So we have courses on business setup, all the legal ramifications, in addition to money, credit, and funding. That's right. We teach you how to get those grants, that free money. In addition to that, we show you how to set up your payroll, your bookkeeping, your HR, your systems for your clients, your CRMs. And we show you how to put together coaching programs as well as online courses. And last but not least, marketing, media, and sales. Now, we can't do business without marketing, media, and sales, right? We got to close the deal. But then we show you how to repeat that over and over again, having referrals, allowing your clients to come back to you over and over again at KBBU. So what are you waiting for? Go on over there after this show and get in where you fit in. Okay? So today, y'all, we have an amazing somebody that I am just blessings and overflow. That's all I can say about her. But let's bring to the stage the amazing Christina Hugie. Yes, yes, yes.
I'll tell you what, if for no other reason for someone to be a part of KBBU, it is simply to know that they will be supported and encouraged, and someone will always be rooting for them. You are such an encourager.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know any other way to live. I don't know anything else to do, Christina. Like, this is just my livelihood. This is what I do, This is who I am. I love people. I love, just encouraging everybody and supporting everybody any way I can, because that's what life is all about, in my opinion. It's all about that unison, that ability to be able to connect and support one another and just live life to its fullest. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Michelle Green. We're here to talk about Christina Hugie. Let's go. Who are you, Christina? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm turning 50 this year, y'all. 50.
Whoa,
yes.
You do not look like it. Oh my God.
But we don't say old people, we say seasoned. See,
there we go.
I'm entering my seasoned phase.
Yes.
So I am married to an incredible man. His name is Mark, and we have two beautiful children. We might be a little bit partial, but they are twins. And let me tell you, that journey. Being a twin mama is it was difficult, but it has been just the joy of my life. And so here we are. What would you like to know?
Thank you for sharing. Sounds like an amazing journey. So let's get into your childhood, Christina. What was your childhood like, in your opinion? From your perspective, What were some of the most amazing things that happened in your childhood, and maybe not so amazing things?
Well, I did not grow up as a Christian. I grew up with the knowledge that there was a creator, with the knowledge that, we all get a choice to choose where we're going to spend eternity.
Okay.
And that was about as far as it went. Like, I knew I wasn't in right standing with God. I knew what my eternity was going to look like. But I didn't really understand what to do with that information, how to really change that.
So let me just interject here, if you don't mind. So are you saying that where you grew up or how you grew up, you didn't grow up as a Christian, you didn't grow up around a environment of church going people? So one of the things that it sounds like that matters in your life is now that you are a Christian.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. Now, where are you from exactly? Where did you grow
I
up?
am from, we like to call it LA, but not in the traditional, sense of the word. Lower Alabama. I'm from
What?
I'm from the panhandle of Florida, but I mean, we are right there on the borderline of Alabama, and
Did
so
not know
the
that.
deep South.
That is the deep South. I know we're in South Carolina now, but
Yes,
wow, I
yes.
had no idea you were from Alabama. All
Yeah,
right,
Lower
Alabama's in the
Alabama,
house.
Pensacola, Florida. It is the world's widest beaches. It is just an incredible,
Really?
beautiful place. But when you're growing up, you don't always appreciate the beauty that you have right there until you get
True.
older, move away, and then you're like, I was living in paradise. What's wrong with me? Why did I leave?
So what was it like growing up as a kid? Did you have
Um,
any siblings or?
so my mom and dad, they got married right out of high school, and just a few years later, they decided that wasn't going to work for them, so they went their separate ways. My dad
Oh,
remarried,
okay.
and he married a wonderful woman, and so she raised me like her own. And
Oh,
together, they had two more children. So I'm the eldest of one sister and one brother. And then
nice.
many years later, my biological mom, she got remarried. And when I was 25, she had a second child. Um,
Wow,
yes.
that's so
So I have
interesting.
another little brother. Yeah. So, yeah,
How many
quite
years
the interesting
apart?
dynamic. 25 years apart. Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
long time. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like what I did with my child at 40 versus
Yes.
my oldest. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. She was 40 when he was born. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I
Yes.
did not know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But you never know what's going to happen in life, right? You just kind of
No.
go throughout the life journey. It happens and
Yes.
it doesn't happen. So, what was going to school like for you there?
Oh my goodness. I mean, just all the typical, just, wanderings of a lost teenager, just, trouble and just getting into all kind of messes, just running with the wrong crowds. And honestly, at the end of the day, when I look back, I was just looking for, we all kind of have that void in our hearts until we get to know our creator. It really came down to that. I was searching to fill the void. So I was trying everything that was available, to try to satisfy that urge, that need, that emptiness. And so really, I did not find true joy and fulfillment and peace of my soul until just before my 21st birthday. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah. So you name it, I was running around doing it.
Really? Oh
Oh
my God,
yeah.
I can't even see you like that,
Oh,
Christina.
listen, here's the one that will shock you the most. I had gotten so far out there. I mean, drinking and smoking and popping pills and all kind of craziness. But I had moved away from home to go to college, and while
Mhm.
I was there, I got mixed up with the wrong folks. And next thing you know, I was running with gangs. And
Oh,
yes, ma'am. Yes,
what?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I know people who know me now find it really hard to believe, but I will
Yeah.
tell you this. After I became a Christian, so I grew up also in the restaurant business. My father, well, actually, my grandfather, he's a self-made multimillionaire. I mean, just to
Oh
go
my
from,
goodness.
yeah, he grew up in Texas, 100% Mexican,
Uh-huh.
and he grew up on a ranch in Texas. And when he got old enough, he packed up and he moved to Florida. And he really just, he was a go-getter. He was a really hard worker. And he just started working and working and working. And he made a lot of very smart choices.
Okay.
And so eventually he had saved up enough money that he was able to open his own restaurant. And so he actually created all his own recipes,
Oh
a
my
Tex-Mex style.
goodness. Go,
Yep. I'm
Grandpa.
telling you, my grandfather opened,
Amazing.
yes, he opened the very first Mexican restaurant in our whole area at the time. That,
That's so
yeah, they weren't
cool.
on every corner back then. And
I
so,
bet not.
yeah.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. Go,
Yeah. So,
Grandpa.
yeah. So then when my dad turned 30, he, left from working for his dad and he went and got his own funding and partners. And he was like, hey, will somebody believe in me? And he started his own restaurant. And so, I mean, at 12 years old, I was like, laying around after school, I'd be laying around on the tile floor in the kitchen while my dad and stepmom were like, trying to get the restaurant up and going. And grew up hostessing and bussing tables and then learning how to wait tables and just all the things. Yeah.
So interesting to me that you had the work ethic, it sounds like, was there.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, what do you think led you to kind of venture out into this wild lifestyle at the same time? Like, how did that work?
I mean, my daddy, he definitely had quite the wild streak himself.
Okay,
I
okay.
am just learning some really cool stories about my dad. Actually, just recently, my mom was telling me she's run into a few people that know him from back in the day,
Uh-huh.
and all the stories seem to overlap. And what I'm hearing is they all say, "Oh, who? Robert? Oh, wow. Nobody messed with Robert. He was quite the boxer."
The
But
boxer.
yes, but here's the thing that really got me, that I was like, okay, Dad, like he would fight constantly, apparently. But what I found out, it's because he was fighting for the right reasons. When he would
Oh.
see someone being bullied because of the color of their skin, he would put an
Oh.
end to that immediately.
Oh my
And
God.
like that person would never be messed with again.
Go,
So
Robert, now.
yeah, so I'm just like,
Important.
okay, like that's incredible.
That is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
So you kind
So,
of just go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, just that, that hot Latin blood, it ran through my blood too, and so he was wild. I was raised just very independent. I kind of raised myself. A lot of us from that generation, especially being the eldest, we raised ourselves, those latchkey kids.
Yes. Yes.
So I didn't have a lot of supervision. I had a hole in my heart because my parents were divorced, and just all the things, just a lot of emptiness and just pain and just looking for answers somehow. So, as that's what I was going to say also is, going through high school, I tried lots of different groups of people. Like at one point I hung out with the cheerleaders. At another point I was hanging out with the headbangers. At another point I was like dancing with all the brown boys. And then another part, just kind of testing out, like, where do I belong? Where do I fit? And what's funny, it's like I fit everywhere but nowhere at the same time. And
Oh.
looking forward at where I am now, a lot of that makes sense. But one interesting thing is, I shared about the gangs and all of that. So when I found Christ, some alumni from my high school had come into our restaurant one day, and they came in just to get a bite to eat. And, they're like, hey, what's up? We hadn't seen you in years. What's going on? And I told them that I was a Christian now and that I was going to Bible college. And one of the guys, I will never forget this moment. One of the guys, he flat out said, like, I'm waiting on the punchline. I know you're lying. There is absolutely no way I believe that this is your story. No possible way.
And now the vice versa, because like everybody that knows you now is like, no way were you a part of a game.
Exactly. The transforming power of God.
I mean. So tell us a little bit more about what that was like being in a gang. I cannot imagine, Christina.
It was crazy. And honestly, I didn't go looking for it. I just, I ended up at the wrong place at the wrong time. I just, got mixed up with the wrong people and, just hanging out at clubs and parties. And next thing you know, like different people are saying, hey, want to come hang out with us? So then you go and you end up in somebody's house and then you start looking around and realizing like, wait a minute, everybody's wearing like one color. And then you start like realizing, what's up? And then you're starting to notice like there's some shady stuff going on over here and some other shady stuff going on over there. There's some secret things going on behind the doors, all this stuff. And it's, next thing you know, you're just in the mix. You're just in the mix. And then, as a female, you start dating some guy and then you just find yourself in this world that you really have no business living in. So it was a whole lot of craziness that went on during those couple of years. And even just getting out of there, here I am in college. My parents sent me off to college in another state. And next thing I know, I'm having to call my dad to say, Dad, I have something to tell you. And he's like, okay, what's going on? And he knew something wasn't right. He just didn't know what.
Wait a minute. What are you about to say?
Yeah, I'm sure he was holding his breath. And I said, well, I need to let you know that like something happened to my car. It has been totaled in the middle of the expressway. And I've also received an eviction notice from all the gang and drug activity happening. So I'm not really sure what to do.
Okay, wait, time out. I want to follow this strategically on the timeline. So we are in high school. And you're in college in the gang. So
graduated high school, moved away to another state. I was living in Missouri.
So you're a young adult at the age of 21?
Well, at this point, no. I was
17, like 18?
17, 18.
Okay. Yeah, 17, 18. All right, so I'm following you now. So you're 17, 18, you end up in a place that you just shouldn't have been in and started hanging around people. I mean, like, this is crazy to me, Christina.
Oh, when I tell you crazy, I'm talking like this story is real life, okay? Like I am not exagerating or elaborating at all. Like,
but it's just so shocking, I believe you.
Real life. My boyfriend at the time, who was in the gang, he took me to work in my car, dropped me off, went back to the house. His friend, who was also just a mess, he was dating a girl who worked at the strip club. So his friend asked my boyfriend, can I please borrow the keys? I think she's up to something and I want to go see her. And I'm like, she works at a strip club. What do you expect?
Exactly.
Right? So while my boyfriend went to sleep, the dude took my keys, took my car, went to the strip club, went up there. They got in an altercation. He ends up totaling my car in the middle of the expressway.
Wow.
So then
was everyone okay?
I honestly don't even remember. I know that he had to have been okay because somehow I ended up there, like at the scene of the accident. Somehow I ended up there, and I remember like this is not who I am now. But I remember like screaming and like yelling and telling the cops they were going to have to take me to jail because I was going to kill him and like all the things. Yes. So he must have been at least somewhat okay for me to be coming at him like that.
Right. Okay. So he was alive. Nobody passed. Okay. Got it.
My car was totaled.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So teenagehood sounds like it was troublesome for you.
Quite.
Quite. How did you make it through?
Honestly, it was the grace of God. I look back on my life and all the times that I should have and could have been dead. I sit in a state of awe of just like, wow, God. You know, people that know me now know me as a very passionate worshiper. I mean, even after being a Christian for, I don't know, it's probably been about, almost around 30 years. At this point, my worship is still just as exuberant and tearful and grateful as it was the day I met God, because like I just am constantly reminded of all the times he was watching out for me, even when I had no idea. You know, really just watching over my life and protecting me and pouring out mercy and grace and all the things. And I had no clue who he was and that he was protecting me from all these horrible things that could have happened. Now, granted, I had my fair share because of my own choices and things I got myself mixed up in. I had a lot of crazy stuff and traumatic events that happened. But I just look back at like all the times, truly, my life was spared. I've had a gun pulled on me. I've had my life threatened. I've had just accidents, quite a number of just, you know, really terrible car accidents, just things that I could have been dead from. That here I am. I'm still here because of the mercy of God.
Wow. So as a young lady growing up as a teenager, going into your 20s, you actually had an encounter with God. Tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Absolutely. So I'm in Missouri, right? And I have to call my dad and tell him like, now I can't get to school. I can't get to work. I got an eviction notice. Like, I don't know what to do. And my dad says, that's it. Pack your stuff. I am coming to get you. Oh yeah. And it was a little more explicit than that.
I'm sure it was.
So when he pulled up in the U-Haul, he literally threw the keys at me and said, tell me when it's packed. And so, he was not happy.
He was not happy and he was not helping, sounds like.
I deserved every bit of it. And so anyway, so he loads me up and takes me back to Florida and, you know, let me stay with him for a while and all the things. And while I was trying to figure out what to do in life. And so, you know, again, the mercy of God, you know, that my dad owned a business. So I was able to, you know, make a living. I was able to work immediately. And, you know, I was able to get my own income going on. So as soon as I was able, I got my own apartment, got back on my feet, got another car, all the things. And at that point, the guy that I was dating up in Missouri, he called and he was like, I really got to get out of here. And they're not going to let me just walk. Like, they're not going to let me just leave. So I've got to disappear. Can I come down there? And so I'm like, yeah, sure. Whatever. You know, I've got my own place now and all that. And so he came down and, during that time that we were, living together and just doing life and all the things, during that time, a girl that I had known in high school, she calls me up one day, and I hadn't talked to her in a long time. She calls me up one day and she says, Christina, I just wanted to know, like, I want to invite you somewhere. And I'm like, okay, where are we going? And she's like, church. And so, I mean, you've heard, you know, kind of my mentality at the time.
Yeah, and I can only imagine. Tell me about your personality at that time.
Yeah. And so I literally just laughed at her. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Well, why would I go to church?
Right.
And I said, and like, you don't even believe in God. What are you talking about?
Oh my goodness.
Right. Because she actually was from France and just had a very different upbringing herself. And so she didn't even believe in the existence of a God, like at least from what I knew. And so I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about going to church. And so, we proceeded to talk. And then she says to me, she says, Christina, I'll make a deal with you. She said, I think you should come to church with me because you don't have anything better to do. All you're going to be doing is sitting in the house being miserable anyway. Why don't you come to church with me? Okay.
Good point.
And I'm like, all right. I got a response for you then. So what I told her was this. I had visited a church. Okay. Now, let me say this. I did go to church a little bit as a child. However, it wasn't a lot. And the few times that we went, what stood out to me was many of the people that I saw their lives, I did not see a difference in the lifestyle of the people that went to church versus the lifestyle of people that didn't go to church.
Elaborate on that a little bit for me.
There was a lot of hypocrisy. I saw like, okay, we believe in God and we preach the Bible and this, that, and the other. But then when we're not there, we're drinking and smoking and partying and just living it up like everybody who doesn't know God or doesn't go to church. So I used to fight with my parents. I'm like, what? Well, actually, my dad didn't really want to go, but mostly my stepmom would take us in the times that she did take us. And I remember fighting with her about it because I'm like, what is the point? I could sleep better in my bed. Like, why are we having to get up and get all like dressed up just to come in here, fall asleep on the pew, and then we leave and we're the same as we came in? Like, I don't understand. What are we doing? What is the point? And I didn't understand, like, truly didn't understand. I wasn't just trying to be rebellious, but I'm like, I don't understand the point of all this.
Right.
And so I had at some point in my, I don't know, teenage years, at some point, someone actually had invited me to go to a church, and I went, and I remember I experienced a feeling. I didn't know what else to call it, but there was a feeling that I experienced when I went there. And so when I was on the phone with my friend, I said to her, I said, well, I'll make a deal with you. I said, I'm going to go with you. I said, but I went to a church one time and there was a feeling there. I don't know what it was, but I know it was right. I said, I'll go to this church with you. But if that feeling isn't there, I will never go back.
Oh, okay. So yeah. You went.
I did. I went, and little did I know that the church that she was taking me to was a church that was experiencing a historical, tangible move of God. And when we got there, we walked, it was a huge church in the middle of like the worst part of town, a huge church. It was it was just, it was crazy. Wow. And so we come walking up, and we open the first doors, which were glass, and we're in the foyer area. And so we're walking towards the doors that are wood doors to the sanctuary. And as each of us grabbed a door and we opened it to kind of walk in together, when we did, the breath of God began to blow on me.
Wow.
In such a way that it physically pushed me backwards.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not kidding.
Christina.
As an unbeliever, as someone who doesn't know God, like, I mean, literally the feeling, right? Now I understand it was the presence of God was blowing so tangibly, so real that it physically pushed me backwards. And I was just, I said, this is that feeling. What is it? And she just very nonchalantly said, it's God. And so we went inside. Wow. And like I said, like, I'm still very emotional and very, all the things, because like, he's so real. Like, he's not just someone that's in a Bible that, some made up written word. Like, he's so real. And He truly, truly desires relationship with us all. And so we go inside and we go up into the balcony, and we were on the front row of the balcony, and I'm watching a lot of things that my mind did not understand. My mind could not comprehend, because I was watching people like worshiping a God they could not see, but their hands were raised and tears were rolling down their faces. I watched others on their knees, just in it, bowing before a God they could not see. I saw others just completely laid out on the floor. I saw others shaking under the power of God. And I didn't understand it was under the power of God at the time, but I saw all of these physical responses and emotional responses. And everything in me said, I don't comprehend with my mind what I'm witnessing, but something inside of my spirit is connecting. Something inside of my spirit is saying yes. Yes. And so there was a very clear, very simple message given. And I went down in response to this message to receive Jesus as my Savior for real this time, right?
Right.
And I went down there, and I'm telling you, I had gotten so hard-hearted that I had the mask on, that thing that we do. We put on the mask to let everyone know, oh, I'm good, right? I'm strong, I'm good, like, can't nothing hurt me.
And you're just 21 years old?
Oh, yeah, there was so much trauma, so much trauma.
God.
So much. And so, here I am, and I'm just like, walking around life, just pretending like everything's okay. Yet I had contemplated suicide. I was very, very empty and broken. Yet externally, you wouldn't know it. I had shriveled down so thin because I wasn't eating. I was depressed. I had shriveled so thin. I mean, I got a little extreme on the opposite end now, but I was so thin that literally my cheeks were sunken.
Oh my goodness.
It was that bad. And I had not shed a tear in over 2 years. And it wasn't for lack of pain. It was simply, I had learned to push it down so much. And so when I went to that altar that night and I received Jesus as my Lord and Savior, at that point, I began to weep. And I wept and I wept and I wept and I wept. And then really for about 3 months, I wept at the drop of a hat. And people would ask me, like, what is wrong with you? And all I could say is, I don't know, but it's God.
Oh.
I didn't understand what was happening, but it was a cleansing. There was a washing happening of all of the junk and all of the pain and all of the things that I had pushed down for so long. Finally, it was bubbling up and out and being washed away. And I was being healed. My heart was being healed.
Wow, that is amazing. I don't think I've ever heard anyone share their story of how God blew them back like that in the initial experience to come to Christ. Like, that is amazing. I'm just like trying to imagine that. Like, I have air blowing on me right now, and I'm just imagining air that is strong enough to just blow me backwards. Yeah. Of course, God is all powerful and all knowing. So I know that had to be an incredible experience for you.
Well, wow. And the best part is it didn't stop there. I mean, that is why I am as passionate as I am about the things of God now, is because daily I experienced a tangible presence of God daily. Like once you've crossed over that threshold and you've said, yes, God, I want to know you. I want to know who you really are. I want you in my life. At that point, like that same kind of experience, it might not be wind blowing on you, but that same tangible touch can be just as real every day when you understand like what it is that separates us from the giver of life. what
Wow.
it is that keeps us from experiencing that day to day when you begin to learn and understand, oh, decisions that I make and things that I do and things I come into agreement with cause the separation. But all I have to do to fix it is repent and deal with, get my mentality fixed and all the things. I can have this feeling all the time.
Be
And it's,
willing to change. That's the
yes,
key. Be willing to
absolutely.
change.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so
Yeah.
good, Christina. So you are 21 years old, you have this encounter with God, and then your life begins to change. So let's pick up with, how is the relationship going to go with the boyfriend from here?
Lord. Oh, I haven't thought about that in so many years. Let's just say the devil don't like to let you go without a fight.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So what was that like?
Oh, it got crazy. It got crazy. So what happened is, I'm having these encounters with the Lord, and, again, everybody's story is different, but it just so happened that this historical move of God, it was actually called the Brownsville Revival, was happening in my hometown. And this was literally an outpouring of God's presence in a very tangible way that went on for 5 years.
Really?
And so, oh yes, you should look up the history of it. I mean, it's just wild. And what happened was, just in a nutshell, is when God showed up the way he did in that church, they were so afraid that, like, if they left the church, that he wasn't going to be there when they came back.
Okay.
And so they stayed in the first while, they stayed all night long, like just in that presence. They stayed until the sun was coming up, and they were like, we can't leave. Like, this is too life-changing. This is too real. This is too incredible. We can't walk away, because what if we come back tomorrow and he's not showing up like this?
Wow.
Oh yeah. And so night after night after night, they would do this. And so they kept, well, I guess let's just show up tomorrow and see if God shows up again. And so night after night, they did this, to the point that, I mean, it was 5 years in. And so that happened on Father's Day of 1995, when God first poured out his Spirit there. And so when I came, it was around October of 95. Okay. And so here I am every single night, every single day. Like, even if I had to go to work, I'm like, I think they're still at the church. I'm going to the church. So here you have, before, I'm like checking my watch to see if the bar is still open or the club is still cranking, but now I'm like, I think they're still at the church, And so night after night of going there, spending that much time in the presence of a holy God, I would come home and I was starting to feel kind of yucky about the fact that I was living with this guy. And at one point, I just said, dude, listen, you either go to church with me and get your life right with God, or like, we gotta end this right here, because like, I can't keep doing this. And he wasn't having it at all. He was not having it at all.
I mean, the guy came all the way from another state to Florida.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, I can see his mentality. I can understand, like, what's happening, especially whenever we have these encounters with God, or, we begin to change or transform our life. It could be from pretty much anything, but especially with our Creator. Like, that is something serious. And nobody wants to just let go of what you used to be like. I mean, nobody, unless they had the same experience. So tell us about what he did.
Oh, it just got so bad. Like, we started fighting, like, really bad, really bad.
Like physical fist fighting.
It started getting like physically violent. It started getting kind of crazy. And obviously, I'm not the kind of girl that would just take it. So, it just started getting ugly. Okay. It started getting really ugly. But then I finally, I gave an ultimatum. I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. while you figure out where you're going to go, I will give you a little time. And I don't even remember where I went, but I found somewhere to stay for like a couple of weeks or something.
You left your own house?
I did. It mattered that much to me. And,
Christina,
I'm like, dude, figure out where you're going to go, but you have however much time. It might've been like 2 weeks or something. Figure out where you're going to go. But on this date, I am coming in. And if you're not gone, I'm bringing the cops with me. Well, so it did come down to that. But here's where it got even more crazy. Next thing I know, he was stalking. Like, he would like call my phone and ask like, who are those people at your house? And like just different things like that. And I'm just like, I don't know what you got going on, but I'm gonna need you to go get mind your business. And like it was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it got really bad. It got really bad. And at some point I was starting to get a little scared of him, because I'm like, I don't know what this dude is capable of, but I know the people that we were hanging out with prior and just all the things. I'm like, I don't know. But eventually somehow, I don't even remember all the details, but somehow like just God dealt with it. He just moved on my behalf and dealt with it. And the guy eventually stopped coming around. And yeah, it was quite the journey.
Yeah, imagine. Oh my goodness. So how did you get out of that situation? Like,
he just eventually kind of disappeared. Like he just stopped coming around. I was being bothered less and less over time. Yeah, he just kind of, I don't know. He just disappeared.
He just left. Okay. All right.
It was a while.
Well, that's a blessing for sure.
Yes.
That's great news that he left. So eventually, were you still working at the restaurant?
I worked in the restaurant, really most of my growing up Pensacola years. There was a couple of times that I worked for other people, but mostly I worked for my dad. I learned just the business side of everything. I learned about, the front of the house, the back of the house, all the payroll, all the inventory, all the things involved. I learned all of that just being around it all the time. And, your dad's like, I need you to do this. And so you trial by fire, you figure it out.
Yes, you do. You do. So that's an interesting childhood to grow up into your 20s. And then did you eventually move, or how did you meet your husband? I heard you say at the beginning that you're married to Mr. Mark. Hey, Mark.
Yes. So let's see. So after all of that craziness, so then what happened was, because this was just a crazy move of God, what happened was they would ask night after night, because there were so many people coming through. And back in those days, we're talking the late 90s, there wasn't all the technology and social media like there is now.
Right.
So it was all word of mouth. It was all word of mouth. And people were coming from all over the world to experience a touch from heaven. And night after night, many of us would raise our hands when they would ask the question, how many of you have gotten saved and right with God in this revival? And we'd all raise our hands, and they'd say, okay, well, out of you that have your hands raised, how many of you feel a call to the ministry? So a lot of those hands would remain up. Well, they're looking at each other like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Because they've got ex-gang members, ex-drug addicts, they've got religious folks, they've got like just every walk of life. They've got street walkers, they've got homeless folks. I mean, literally every walk of life with every background, we were all coming in the door and getting in there. And so eventually, as they're praying and just kind of figuring out what to do, they started a Bible college that was birthed out of this revival. And
so Bible college.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So the name of it was Brownsville Revival School of Ministry. It was a two-year accredited college. And so I got to be in the very first class, the pioneer class of the history of the school.
Oh my
And
goodness. Congratulations.
for
That's
those,
huge.
girl, for those who understand how many people, it's recorded in the book of Acts on the day of Pentecost when the fire of God came and the Holy Ghost filled the disciples. There were 120. So the very first day of Bible college, there were 120 full-time students enrolled.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So you went to school, you went to Bible school.
Went to Bible college. Yeah, I was working for my dad at the time. In between, just you still got bills to pay and tuition and all the things. And eventually, I heard the Lord tell me that He wanted me to stop working and to trust and depend on Him to pay my bills. And for 7 months.
What?
He provided. There were some things that I had to let go of because He didn't provide in the way that I thought He was going to provide. But He gave me solution. For example, at one point I was driving this really cool car. I was a sports car kind of gal. And so I was driving this really cool car and I'm like, Lord, like you told me not to work and like, I'm coming up on these payments and like, what am I going to do here? And lo and behold, my sister at the time was driving a car that was paid in full. It was a beater. And the insurance on it was very, very minimum. And she said, I'm looking for a new car. And she loved my car. And we made a deal. And she's like, I'll take over the payments. You can have my car. And like, that's that. So
really?
I had to let go of my really cool sports car that I loved. But God provided in that way that I still had transportation and I no longer had the expense.
So amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so after that 7 months, and I have countless stories of the way He showed up and provided, not just for me, but like all of us girls. Like I was living with a handful of girls and we're in Bible college, like we're poor at this point.
So you've left your place.
Oh yeah.
And you are in a dorm with other ladies in a actual dorm room going to school.
Not a dorm room. We actually had rented an apartment and there were like 5 of us in this apartment.
Oh my God. This is crazy.
Yeah. So that was fun. It was wild. And God just showed up in so many different ways. Like it was just incredible. All the different ways that He showed up. But after that 7 months, I would drive. I felt the release in my heart that, I had learned the lessons that He was trying to teach me, that He is my provider and that He is also my Father and He will take care of me. And so the 7 months had passed and I felt the release in my heart that I could go get a job. And so I was going to just go, over here where it was normal and comfortable and easy. And I just felt that check in my heart. Nope, that's not what I'm calling you to do. Well, anyway, I would drive past this McDonald's every day between Bible college and the apartment. It's just one little strip of highway. Every day I would drive past that McDonald's and I would hear the Spirit of God say, that's your job. And I'm like, I am not working at McDonald's. Right? I just thought I was too good for that. Okay.
Not pride stepping in.
Okay. I'm telling you, I was full of pride over that.
Oh, my goodness.
He kept doing it. Girl, I went to places I was so overqualified for. I couldn't even get a serving job at a buffet. I was so offended. But I knew God was like, not happening. I told you that's your job. And so eventually I was like, oh my gosh. So I ended up walking in the door one day and the gentleman that spoke to me, he said, well, come on over here a minute. He sat me down. Come to find out, he was the store owner. He was like the top guy.
Really?
He interviewed me, gave me the job on the spot, and I was furious.
Of course.
I was so mad.
you got the job. That's what God said.
Yes, I got the job. You know, it was just incredible. It was incredible. Yeah,
So did you meet Mark in that journey of
no, so
McDonald's?
it wasn't until, oh girl, I mean, oh my goodness. I've been, after graduation, I went on mission trips. I was in full-time ministry for a couple years, traveling around the nation, all of these things. And then at some point, I walked through some church hurt. I walked through some things where, people I thought I could trust and that I thought I understood, did some things really hurt me. So I went through kind of a whole journey there where I had to really go to God and say, Lord, I don't understand how to handle this kind of hurt. I know how to handle hurt from the world because I know what to expect there, but I don't know how to deal with this. So even that was a whole journey. But eventually the Lord spoke to me and told me that he was calling me to move to Charlotte, North Carolina. And so I did. And it was while I was living there that I met my husband, Mark. And we were together for 4 years before we actually got married. And then we got married, had our beautiful babies. And then about 6 years ago, the Lord called us to move to Charleston. And so now we're here in Charleston, South Carolina.
All right. So what has the work journey, like you growing up and being at the restaurant majority of your adult life, right? What has that led you into today, Christina?
So my goodness. Oh, okay. So when I was in Charlotte, that part was quite the journey because, I had grown up in the restaurant business. It was kind of all I knew. But while I was in Charlotte, I had an opportunity to work for this restaurant, and it was more of a fine dining restaurant. So I got to learn a lot of, more higher end skills about serving and even bartending. Like they had rules because it was a classy place. They would not put up with any kind of over serving of customers. And so, I learned how to bartend and just all the things there. But while I was there, I ended up, people just begin to recognize certain things about you. And so I was given opportunity to kind of be a floor manager. I was given opportunity just to be in more managerial and more supervisory type roles. Yeah. Well, eventually the woman who did that particular restaurant, they had a few different locations, and the woman who did like the bookkeeping and the payroll and different things for that unit, she one day came to me and said, Christina, she said, I'm looking at doing something different and I would love to recommend you for my position. I think you're perfect for it. Yep. And so she went to the general manager and she says, hey, I want to train Christina for the job and I want you to pay her what you've been paying me. And he agreed.
Wow.
So I started learning accounting and bookkeeping and payroll and like the HR side of, running a business and things like that. And eventually one of my regular customers one day called me out and wanted to introduce me to her son. Her son offered me a job and I'm like, well, I'm not really looking for a job, but I'm always open to opportunities. Tell me about it. Well, come to find out, he was a franchise owner and he owned like 15 Valvoline instant oil change facilities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So long story short, he hires me. I take the job. I come in and he had literally fired his entire office staff. So it was me and another girl to do the entire everything for this company of like 15 stores.
That's crazy.
When I tell you thrown in the fire. So listen, everything that I had learned over the years was all culminated into this education experience of just thrown in the fire, figure it out. Listen, I'm talking, we had to literally set up policies and procedures. We had to figure out all the things. It was really, really. And so during the time, I was only with him for 2 years, but during the time that we were there, we watched his company literally come to life and grow and expand. Like it was just the favor and the call of God on on both of our lives, really. She wasn't even a believer, but God's favor was on us. Wow. And when I tell you, set up some policies and procedures, we wrote manuals, we did everything. And then he was like, okay, well, I think we need to bring in some more staff because even my fleet division is growing. And we're like, yep, we need somebody to do this, this, and this. So we were hiring people left and right. We went from just this tiny little small little office to like having this enormous office with like 8 different administrative employees. I mean, it was just phenomenal. He ended up acquiring an entirely other business and bringing that in. So we learned how to run 2 completely different companies under the same umbrella.
Whoa!
It was an experience. 2 years of just, digging in.
So HR and payroll and manuals and just learning how to do things that you never did before. And wow.
Accounting, banking, like for many different units. Because we had at one point, I think we had up to 21 locations.
Wow.
Under 2 different companies. So we had to have separate banking, separate books. I mean, everything. All the taxes on all the properties. I mean, we had to learn so very much.
Oh my God. So what are you doing now in relation to that?
Well, so while I was working there, a whole story, the job after that, I worked for hospice in their finance department. And that's where I learned like medical billing and like all kinds of Medicare, Medicaid, and just medical coding, like all this stuff. So when we left Charlotte, at that point, my babies were 2 and almost 3. I was working full time, and Mark and I were just, crunching numbers, and we're trying to see like, well, what are we going to do with the children? Like basically I'm working to pay for childcare to not be with them and all the things, right? I know all of us moms deal with that. And so we made the decision that when we got to Charleston, I was going to stay home with the children. Okay. And so during that time, I really was just crying out to the Lord, like, what does my life look like after this? Like, I'm in a new city, a new everything. What should I be focused on? And right about that time was when COVID happened, and, the whole world was just crazy at that point. Yeah. Yes. And so eventually what happened was the Lord began to just download into my heart the concept of Kingdom Bridges Network, which really exists to be kind of a bridge, Kingdom Bridge, a bridge for kingdom ministries and ministers to connect. The Bible tells us that we see in part, we hear in part, we know in part. And it really emphasizes the need for us to be one. The whole body of Christ, we are to be one as Christ and his Father are one. We are to be the expression of God on the earth because of our oneness, right? And so our oneness, our love for one another and all of that. And so it began to just give me this concept of Kingdom Bridges Network, which exists partly as a platform, a website platform for ministers and ministries to connect, but also to post their content on my website. I don't charge anything for it, but basically, if KBBU wants to advertise, your services, then you can post your content on my site and get free advertising. If you've got credit repair that you want to, tell people that, hey, I've got credit repair services. You can advertise on my site. Let's say you are a music artist and you have music and content that you want to get out there, or merchandise that you want to get out there, and it's all kingdom related. It's all concepts that God has laid on your heart. if you've got books and all the things, that's what it's there for. But also along the journey, I have been reached out to by a dear minister friend who has been like a father, like a mentor to me for many years. We met in Bible college, and he is an author himself. And he was looking for someone in the publishing field to help him with some things regarding publishing. And he reached out one day and said, "Hey, Christina, I'm looking for somebody to help me do this. Would you be willing to give it a shot?" And I said, "Well, I'm willing to try anything." And so anyway, he sent me his manuscript that had already been edited at that point.
Okay.
And I thought I was just going to be learning how to upload it to Amazon. That's not at all what he needed. He actually needed it to be fully formatted and uploaded and published. And
wow.
so I'm like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. And the first couple of books I did the wrong way, but it's still like the end result. I like tweaked it enough to where, it went through.
Okay.
But that's been a couple of years ago now. And so I've learned a lot along the way. But currently my main job per se is publishing. I am a Christian publisher. And
wow.
I love doing the job.
Now, a little bit backwards, if we go back just a little bit, how did we meet?
I don't even remember.
I don't either. I think it was your brother-in-law, Tracy.
I was going to ask. I'm like, for some reason, Sarissa and Tracy are coming to mind.
Yes.
Were they students of yours?
They were speaking in the class and then turned into a student.
Then that's it. That's it. So then Mark and I, we saw the value in what was being offered. And so we went through the classes and learned invaluable. I mean, just like there's no way to explain the value that we got out of these classes.
Thank you.
And even with Mark, we learned all the technical components of starting an LLC and even all the things you talked about in your intro. We walked it all out. Everything that you taught us, we walked it out. And so my husband actually, he drives a massive dump truck. All of it. I mean, he's self-employed.
Started a business. Yes.
Started a business, self-employed. I've got Kingdom Bridges Network, which is ministry, but then now I have publishing, and then I was doing web design, which I still can do web design, but I'm transitioning to focus more on publishing. But yeah.
So that's like 4 businesses that came out of coming through KBBU. My goodness, Christina! Wow, I didn't realize that. Golly! Oh my goodness! Oh wow, that is just so superb. That's how God does things. That's exactly how He does it. So right now you are focusing on the publishing, and that's your newest baby, your newest business, as well as and you're still doing the graphic design business, and you still have Kingdom Bridges, which we need to get in there. And if you're watching and you have a business, listen. If you are a believer, you definitely need to come on over and
free advertising, y'all.
That's right. You need to come on over. So listen, I'm going to definitely talk to you after this about what I need to do. All right. And then, so what is it that you want to leave with the audience today about any part of your life, your business, and how can they get in touch with you if they are interested in any of your services?
I would say, first of all, I want to say that if you listen to my story, and obviously there's so much more to it, but if you listen to my story from beginning to end of even just what was shared today, you'll see a thread of how, the gifts and the mercy of God is on a person even when they don't realize it, right? And so every one of us have untapped gifts and untapped potential inside of us that, you know, people like Michelle Green with KBBU can help identify and pull those things out. And even more than that, equip you to walk out those things that are stirring in your heart and you just don't know how. Right? Because in the beginning, I wasn't really sure, you know, when I started down the self-employed road, I really wasn't sure what it was going to look like. You know, at the time I was doing Kingdom Web and designs, and since have kind of pushed that aside because I'm just like, I don't think this is quite it. But I had the confidence to at least walk that out because of what I learned in KBBU. It's you have taken like the scary parts of it out because you equip us with really great solid information so that we feel like we can walk forward like confidently, right? Knowing what we're doing. And you're always there for us if we like come across something that we're not sure about. And like that part of it, like we've not only like it, our relationship is more, I mean, and this is not just me, but all your students, like you don't just equip them, but you become friends.
Absolutely.
You become, you know, and so that part of it is just so beautiful. As far as me, you know, for people to get in touch with me, they can go to our website, which is www.kingdomblikebridgenlikenetwork.com. And if you prefer like to reach out via email, it's admin, like administration, at kingdombn.com, which is also, we've got a contact page on the website. And then if you prefer to like do a phone call, you can dial 843-732-9377. And yeah, I would love to help you with publishing needs or just Kingdom connections. But I will say there's one specific project that I would love to just tell people about. The Lord has dropped something in my heart that he is asking me to do. And that is a particular book project called Glory Stories. And it will be stories of God's faithfulness, goodness, and power. And these stories are not all mine. They are yours. They are, everyone's got stories to tell of how God has shown up. So there's going to be one volume that's going to be stories of miraculous healings. There's going to be another volume that's going to be stories of deliverance and salvation testimonies. There's going to be other volumes that who knows what they're going to be about, but it's all going to be, you know, the scripture tells us they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And so that is what this project is about. And so what I need from your listeners, from the people who this, you know, gets into their path at God's will, if they have a story to tell, and it doesn't have to be a dramatic story like mine. You know, some people feel discouraged when they're like, well, you know, I grew up in church and I don't have some dramatic salvation testimony. That is the testimony. Right. Like, it's incredible. And so, yeah, so we're looking for people who want to share their testimony. But what's really great about it, each person that goes into this work are going to get their own customized book cover. On the back of it, it's going to have the about the author section will be all about that specific person.
What?
Yes. The about the author page inside the book will be about that person. It will have links to their ministries and the things that they are involved in. And the best part is every single person will get a full copy of the whole book to upload to their own Amazon KDP account and keep 100% of your own royalties from your sales. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. Did y'all hear the words that came out of her mouth? Oh my goodness. It couldn't been a better blessing. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Wow. You know I'm
Yes.
gonna take you up on that opportunity, right? Absolutely. That would give people the opportunity to be an author. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
And receive their own royalties 100%. Like you're not taking
Absolutely.
anything out of it.
Absolutely. Well, I will
Prince.
say there is a fee. It's not a large fee. There is a fee. And the only reason I'm charging a fee is because I do have to pay professional editors and formatters and cover designers to, do the work of each story. But like, it's not a large fee. And hopefully, because we will be marketing this book, we will spend some finances on the marketing. Hopefully that means every contributor, every author will get more sales because of that. So hopefully you'll make
Wow.
your money right back.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that is so amazing. Thank you so much. I know God put that in
Absolutely.
your heart,
You
honey.
did.
I know He did.
You
That
did.
is so huge. Well, thank you so, so much for everything. I see the thread of how God has really just moved your life into something that is so incredibly beautiful. And I just want to say thank you. I love you so much, girl.
I
I love
love
you.
you.
I love you. Oh my God, you have made such an impact, you and your husband, into my life. Even when we first met in that first phone call, I remember Mark saying, y'all pray for me, and Mark asking, what did you get from that? And when I started to share, we were all in tears. We just all like praising God. It was just so huge. So, y'all have been such an impact to my life. Thank you so
Yes.
much for coming on the Where Are They Now show. I can also see that how God used every single detail of your life to become the person that you already were from
Yes.
when you first started out with all the trouble, but now you end up with this beautiful portrait of yourself. It's
Yes.
amazing. It's
Yes.
amazing. It's
Yes.
amazing. Yes, I see all the connections. Everything that you're doing now, you already had the ability to do it back then. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank
I
you
know
so
that
much.
someone is going to definitely be impacted. And can you just give us one more time how they can get in touch with you regarding becoming an author?
Absolutely. Just head out to www.kingdombn.com. That's B like bridge, N like network.com. Or give me a call at 843-732-9377 or shoot me an email, admin@kingdombn.com.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for joining us
Michelle.
today. All right. We'll talk with you
Love
shortly
you.
after. Love you
Okay.
too. All right.
Bye.
Bye bye. So there we have it, guys. Another amazing KBBU alumni. That's what we do every Tuesday from 6 until, because we don't know when we're going to get finished, because these stories are so impactful, so amazing. I hope that this one has really moved you the way that it has touched my soul. And we are going to see you again next Tuesday from 6 until. Until then, make sure you're subscribed, like, and share. Don't forget to comment, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.